Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our Global TV Deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
Oh, thy peace, God of my salvation, because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is open. Rastafari. Come with I. Rastaman throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Not a people there. Make him a throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Only when man like Marcus Garvey speak, wicked men would I hear. Hear now hear. Instead of that, they only sit aside and rub and cheat, and not press the floor. Make up what I seen to make him a throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a plan! Make him a throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. My favorite part, if Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the day them can sell out Rasta and sell it out. I sell out Babylon. They give man throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. They give man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. If Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the dead can sell out Rasta and sell out. I sell out Babylon. Yes, stop on the Friday. You must show us. And it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a plan! Big man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. You have eyes to see, let him see. You have ears to hear, let them hear. What a prophet must say. President Mandela was in prison for 20 odd years. And he leave from the prison and take the seat of the president. Stone one. Big him and throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a plan! Big him and throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Rastaman throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men.
Good morning, globalists. Happy Sunday morning to you. Good morning, all, and welcome. Thank you all for joining us this morning. We are looking at the rolling down the hill of the catastrophe in our country and the dismal leadership of our Prime Minister, his power play, and his politics. Never before, though, has Andrew Holness been watched so closely by Jamaicans yard and abroad. The Prime Minister opened his mouth and tell the nation that he's going to rent generators which came free, which was donated to victims in the worst hit areas. The Prime Minister will be loaning those generators to Jamaicans who have lost everything. And that Prime Minister really got everybody sit up and watching. Since you have said that, I don't know if you're paying attention to what's going on social media. The whole world come out upon this because the whole world know that Spain and Japan donate those for the worst hit, for Jamaicans in the worst hit area, to bring back like a power and energy, Prime Minister, into those communities who we now go see JPS anytime too soon while their bills continue to come. Prime Minister, the whole nation sit down up and I watch you. Share the live this morning for me because we're going to bring some land conversation into the argument this morning. I, at one point, and many of them say we heard it through the election campaign just gone, Jamaica is a Christian country. You would believe that given the amount of churches we have, even though Melissa has taken some. But after the worst disaster we've experienced, we as a country manage to organize days of song and dance globally before we even organize a day of prayer or a day of mourning at home. Don't know what she's listening to, but you say, oh, let's have 2 days of prayers on the 15th and 14th and the 15th and 16th of November. But the ungodly concert in the car park up by stadium starts on the 14th. I mean, if we are a Christian country, haven't we got it twisted and bended around? Just asking. To my community of party and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls, good morning, globalists. Good morning and welcome. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Country Gal morning. Patricia Matthews, good morning. My community is holding up, is keeping up their spirit, Patricia, despite the destruction. They are keeping up. I'll show a video from my community in a bit. Yvonne Johnson, morning. West Indian Pilgrim. West Indian Pilgrim, is it still, are you different from Ananaku Indian Nation, or you just changed the name? Because the symbol looks the same to me. Pamela Okola, good morning. Good morning. Andrea Joan Hamilton Wilson, Sheena Kelly. Jamrock 8766, Monica Hawthorne, morning everyone, morning. If you're not writing in the chat, whichever of the channels you're on, good morning to those on Universal Vantage, to those on Universal Media, and to those on the Global TV Group. Good morning and welcome. No ID, no food. We saw during the, before Melissa arrived, the Prime Minister had a particular insistence on protecting your documents. When the Prime Minister speaks, we tend to be learning now that there are ulterior motives when you hear anything coming out of the Prime Minister's mouth. Okay, thanks. Anything coming out of the Prime Minister's mouth tend to have a bit of ulterior motive attached to it. Labor rights, morning, I no come here. Me see all on the social media I chew up Zara over this particular question. Let me pull back the question, because you see, once you're done in a Jamaica, you can almost guarantee you're a labor right. We need to re-educate with people because so much people lack understanding. Because if we don't have any knowledge of the environment, the way one go on over Zara Burton question, you can see say uno misguided, uno dumb, and uno don't have a clue what uno de in the world. How me do with the video? Not a clue. But Zara Burton asked the question at the press conference if they can get some Jankro or some labor rights for that matter, to go down to St. Elizabeth to help to clean up the carcasses. And all of them getting around something per social media about Zara. But other than the questions asked by Dean Jackson Miller, that was one of the most important questions that was asked by Zara Burton. Why is that question important? Particularly, we see that the government have no interest in, one, even speaking about dead bodies, not want to speak about the carcasses all over the country, particularly in the western section, most hard-hit area. They don't want to talk about that. Now, the longer these carcasses are there, it's the more we're going to have the bacteria and contamination seeping into our water system. The sooner the Jankro can clean up the carcass, it's the less risk we have of contamination in our groundwater source. That's why, Mr. We need to re-educate a lot of people amongst us. And if you thought labor rights were inhumane during the general election, you want to listen to how they speak about people in these disaster zones. I don't know what I've done with that video. You want to listen to how they speak about people in these disaster zones. Now, these are the same people, when we hold the government to account, when we question the government, when we call out the government, these are the same people that are saying We are playing politics. It's not the time for this, they say. Don't bring politics into this now. But those people
So what are you
are
saying?
making excuse for the same prime minister who is loaning relief that came into the country for the people. The prime minister is loaning. And the prime minister said, not us. And we are not allowed to even question it. We can't find the video, but let's go to Westmoreland. Because whatever Westmoreland has done to this government, but the entire Jamaica is subjected to this prime minister's behavior.
And came back, and it came with food.
What government with any humanity in a time like now would be using a piece of paper against people in disaster zone, unable to find food and water? And your Holness, we have never watched you as close as we are watching you now. Because we see all of the dirty politics and we see all of the power play when it comes to money, Prime Minister. You see the fuckery what you're doing at the Adpem Galangin? We're going to come to it in a bit. The fuckery what you do with the Adpem Galangin, everybody start watch you. The fuck with the loaning generator, Prime Minister, everybody start watch you. The $10 million per constituency, Prime Minister, everybody start watch you. Now you're getting 150 million US from the World Bank Cap Bond. And from the Caribbean CREF, you'll get another $21 million. Remember, say CREF pay out money to you for burial, Prime Minister. Money where we don't hear you talk about and we don't get any of. Remember, say CREF pay out money to you in a burial. CREF are going to pay 21 million to the Prime Minister. And World Bank are going to pay 150 million. So the Prime Minister is going to pocket 170 million US dollars just on indemnity alone, which one of my globalists asked me to explain about whether the money is for the Jamaican people or it's for the I will explain that in a bit from my understanding. Any government with humanity wouldn't be holding up for a piece of paper to give you food. Now, we have watched also, Prime Minister, planes and planes and ships and planes coming to this country with aid. And you will send 2 JDF, 2 chopper copter or whatever they may be, down a Westmoreland with 65, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 60, 1, 2, 3, 4, 65. Prime Minister. And that's not politics. That is not political sabotage. That is not dirty politics. When everything have to be organized through Colonel Charles's dirty fingernails. Like, seriously? And then we're blaming people like Dayton when they have to wait on the pittance given to them by Prime Minister and Colonel Charles. Do you all understand how this fuckery is working? Do you understand the bottleneck that is being created by the dirty finger of Colonel Charles wafting and wafting through everything? the weaponization of food. The weaponization of food. Prime Minister, you are going to trigger an unrest in the country. You are going to trigger, Prime Minister, an unrest in the country. You're not meeting the basics. What you are doing, Prime Minister, is jostling and buckling for power and power grab and money at the moment, with not a concern for what's happening on the ground. The $10 million where you get each MP in the worst hit era, Prime Minister, I'm sure Spice spend more on that already. Prime Minister, I am sure when you look on the amount of chuck and material and all sorts Spice coming with, Prime Minister, I'm sure Spice the more, much more than that $10 million where you give out to a place like St. Elizabeth where flatten. A place like Southwest St. Elizabeth where flatten. You expect $10 million to assist with building Galangin. After we deal with this, we'll explain my understanding of the cat ban to you and what it covers.
And came back, and it came with food this time. But to collect, we all have to have ID and the TRN. However, I don't know where's my ID, and I hear a lot of people complaining that they don't know where is theirs. I'm currently searching the house to find it. I don't know where I don't know where to find it. From the storm, I haven't seen my ID. So I have a picture. Hopefully it can work. I don't know. Rain a fall, and if you see the amount of people outside in the rain trying to get aid right now, and I'm wet, wet till water drip. Rain a fall right now as me speaking, fall hard. I find the paper where this is my old driver's license. Hopefully this can work. Alright, me I walk with it. Alright, so the line I go line up in it, I don't have a proper ID in RTR, but we still do it, I say things so. One other copter land out on the front of the sun. My phone all of them. I never think no time in my life would I ever see something like this. So you see, when everybody go and get package, me them must say 65 package for hour. And about 50 issue out already. And the line they are still long. But yeah, go and watch what go. Alright, so the food done, and then top take sign up. So we don't know when they're gonna come again. I did see something drop off out of the copter when it fly away back. So me and one of my friend I walk and look for it. See where the bar open land one. Come on. I looking for it, but we not find it. So never go me out there. I'm not even gonna stop the crowd because they say the food is done, but there's a lot of crowd still there. I stood in the line for about an hour and a half, and nothing. Still, some of the people that get through actually did more in need than me, and then give the elders them priority, and I really like that as well, because we as the stronger person, we can step out and make it work. So apart from dropping water and food, they also came in the village and they went around and they cut down a few trees from some fence of some houses and in the community overall. And we want to say thanks. Thanks for the help. It makes it so much easier for us.
Yes. We mustn't question Andrew Holness though. Because if we question Andrew Holness, we are dirty PNP dog shits. We must not question the abuse of the people. 65, 2 helicopter. 65 so-called care packages. 65, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65 packages in a flattened community. And mind you, you have to join the queue. I don't have a problem with joining the queue. But you must have your ID and TRN to get food. Now, in a country which people just flood out, where people roof still underwater, where we don't hear no environmental concern as to those homes still underwater, what measures will government take? Those homes underwater, is there any bodies in those homes? No concern. We don't even have a proper dead count. But let me go to the Skettle Marsh. We're a Christian nation, they say. The Minister of Culture and Transgender, no sooner Melissa struck, the Prime Minister and him Indian friend run out and them create them begging bowl and them fix them begging bowl, you know, and them have to get in front of everybody with a begging bowl, because the father back there with the begging bowl, and the less you go get. So them have to push out and deal with them begging bowl first. Then the Minister of Culture, Mom Skettle, push out, and she announced a series of concerts. I love Jamaica. And we are going to gather money, and we are going to gather money to support Jamaica. How much dough are we going to spend to gather money in these lavish concerts across the world, particularly the one in the United Kingdom in Wembley Stadium, Babsy Grange? But this Christian country manages to secure the money trail before it turns to God to pray. I don't even care about their praying, because their prayer did not help before Melissa. It didn't help during Melissa, and certainly will not help in the aftermath of Melissa. So shift the prayer out of the way. The principle of it, though. So we have more reference to the boogie algorithm than more reverence to the jump and sound that we call our churches. Concerts are start in a stadium car park the 14th of November. And then on the 15th and 16th of November, we're having a national days of prayer. Rather, it should be national mourning rather than national prayer. However, we always get things horrible, twisted, and backwards. But shouldn't it be the other way around? We launch the thing off with the national prayer. Then you can go off into your fangle-dangle rhythm. I'm not a Christian, was once. I don't cater for the thing anymore, because bullshit is bullshit is bullshit, and it is bullshit. But they hold closely and dearly to the bullshit. So let me acknowledge their bullshit. But isn't it a twisted bullshit when the song and dance comes before the godisherism? This is plain nonsense for me. When we need every hands on deck to do every little thing we can to alleviate what the people them are got to, what the minister has time to do is to organize song and dance. Song and dance while we can't find with ID. Even if we save the building structure, it wash out everything. You can walk around Jamaica. There's a community in in St. Elizabeth called Brompton. Brompton is going towards Westmoreland side. From Brompton, you head to the border, Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth. Brompton is probably maybe about 15 or so miles from Paraty, probably, or 15 or 20 miles from Paraty. And things for people in Brompton is being found in Paraty. This is how mix up Melissa is. You carry things all the way from down Wowo yonder there, so come all the way up there, so. But they say we're a Christian country. No. Somebody asked me about the cat ban, that I should explain whether the cat ban, hold on there, that I should explain whether the cat ban money, and that the cat ban money is not for resident of Jamaica, it's for the infrastructure. No, the cat ban, see the cat ban, if any of you have content insurance for your home, see the cat ban as a content insurance for Jamaica. You cannot insure Jamaica without, particularly against a natural disaster, without insuring its people, without the people are indemnified in that insurance. So the catastrophe ban works like an indemnity insurance, like a content insurance where it insures all of the content within your home. That's how the catastrophe bond is meant to work. It's not meant to just work for putting the damaged infrastructure back together. It's also to assist with the rebuilding project of damaged homes and damaged community infrastructure. So it's not just about road repair or repairs or rebuilding of what we see as government responsibility. It's an insurance that cover the recovery and construction, and that include those who their homes are being damaged, those who have lost livestock. So it assists in building back like our schools or healthcare or road or telecommunication system or power system, and it also support the building of homes and communities affected by the storm. So this is not an indemnity that the Prime Minister ought to arm up for himself. This is why the $10 million per constituency for building support is fuckery, literal fuckery, given that Jamaica is collecting two indemnity, 150 million from the World Bank catastrophe and 21 million from CREF. That's the indemnity plus the plethora of support in cash. Not when you hear they say million in aid, not everything is in cash. And you have to read carefully and look for the amount they're given in cash. When you hear they talk about that billion, when they talk about the billions or the millions, it includes the generators, the satellite, the food, the field hospital. When a country say them I give whatever in millions and say it I give in aid, count up whatever else involved it all comes in the package of what they are giving, but also with that package, a part of that package, you get cash grant as a part of that package. So the Prime Minister, looking at the people of Jamaica, and said to a community like all of the constituency them over St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland, were mash up. 1 and 2 house may save them roof. $10 million, 10 million Jamaican dollars. When Mark Golden was saying 50 million would be a good start. 50 million, $10 million given to Floyd Green cannot solve the building damage problem that occurred in my community. And as I speak about my community, despite the tragedy, them have like a spirit. One of our very own Dr. Davis Trail came to the community and try to bring
so proud.
to the community.
I have to big up my cousin Nisha, her husband, and their team. Trust me, they come through.
She came with her team and she opened up a kitchen so the community can get some hot food and the people could all go back to our historical Johnny Keane. That our hey, when you look at with community, America and the Holness, people the rest of Jamaica may not say bam Japan them. But when you look at the creators in our community, or no African convince we say bam no Japan we in the nights of the wind and rain when nobody else never see and hear American and the Holness. Everybody will go down there say, no sir, bam afi drop down here so. Prime Minister, the creator them in our community, Prime Minister. Nobody no fool. Everybody say and know say once they come in our community, then say and know say bam Japan we. Then just have to look upon the whole heap of creator them in our community, Prime Minister. For know say something there Japan we woof. While rain and breeze I make noise, or not take the time for just a pound with so the person for the creator them in our community. We have river, springs, and lake open up in a people yard side of people house. But I want those of you, before I go to my community video here, those of you who are having the conversation that we are conspiracy theorists, even though you don't believe the information put out by the various different universities in America, Florida University or Alaska University, which deal with HARP, Florida University, which deal with the hurricane creation. What I want you to research is the Environmental Modification Convention. Write it down. ENMOD Convention. ENMOD Convention. ENMOD Convention. Environmental Modification Convention. When you read it, ask yourself the question, why the world body would put a convention in place to prevent the weaponization of the weather system to attack country and people. If nobody If no country has mastered that science, why do we need a convention to prohibit the weaponization of the environment or the weather system? ENMOD convention, ENMOD convention. Look at it for yourself and ask yourself, if we do not have the science, why do we need such a convention? Why do we need such a convention? You should ask yourself that question. Well, one of our community members have come cheer we up.
This is our community party. I am so proud. I have to big up my cousin Nisha, her husband and their team. Trust me, they come through and give what they can give, and they are giving hot meals. And the big thing is that they bring Starlink so that people can communicate with their family. This is so nice. This is our community party, Seaside. I know. Ow, mosquito. Facebook Live. Don't do that.
So despite the devastation, the community had tried cheer up themselves and keep themselves together. But Prime Minister, the generator bring out everybody, because we are fully aware where them come from. Now, Mr. Labor right even run company, because all me have to do over my page, is wet the dot. Labor right have pig them, we just run, come over, they come wall. And they not have no shame for system, me not pay attention to them. But they will wet, once me wet the dot, then just run, come over, come wall in the mud. But Mr. Labor right come on my page and justify, say, is either they lying or they not listen? Or they don't know better? The Prime Minister can't give what the generator them, because if neither hurricane come next year, we have to go buy more generator give out again. I say no, them never buy. Him never buy them. Him get them free from Spain and Japan. The Prime Minister gets Starlink for going where the Prime Minister have a sell him friend and compatriot them have a pan road a sell for 133,000 Jamaica dollar to people with everything just blow away. One man a Westmoreland say where there. Me dead, but me lose my life, but me still living. Me lose my life, but me still living. Prime Minister, you're provoking an unrest in the country. It's kind of part of what you want. You're a trident at the moment. You're a three-pronged. The hurricane come, you don't get your glory away you did want. Because to say, the amount of dead body pile up that you wanted in Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth was imaginable. So, you know, get to this, so, all right, make me attack them with another prong of the sword. Let me leave them to go hungry, and let me leave the carcasses around them so disease can kill them off when them immune system weaken out. That's the second prong of the sword. The next prong of the sword, if the other two prongs don't work, what the Prime Minister is waiting on, I'm going to frustrate them. I'm going to frustrate them to the point where they will have to rise up. And then I will have the chance to shoot them down in mass. And then I could impose all sorts of rule on them. But as I said, we're going to bring in some land argument into all of what is happening in Jamaica right now when it comes to the storm. And Pastor Sandra has explained it well, the land acquisition bit of it, how our land situation is in Jamaica, because it's quite a deviant thing from how the land issue is in the United Kingdom as opposed to what we would study in land law in the United Kingdom. It's kind of different because of the colonial structure in Jamaica. So first you're going to listen to land acquisition in Jamaica, and then afterward we're going to look at how urgent land reform is needed, how the lack of affects those at the moment, particularly in Westmoreland and a lot of places in St. Elizabeth, even if you're not on the coastline, those areas deemed as squatter land. So let's first listen to how land acquisition work within our colonial structure and why we have this land issue and this titling issue that not many of us understands.
So it is important that we understand the tainted history of land acquisition in Jamaica. We have to go back to 1655 when the English defeated the Spaniards. The Spaniards had settled in Jamaica after 1494 when Christopher Columbus claimed that he had discovered Jamaica. And when this English came to Jamaica, there were a few Spanish settlers. Their capital was Santiago de la Vega. That was modern day Spanish town at the time. Now, there were a few Taínos. Taínos were the indigenous people who lived in Jamaica at the time. And the Spaniards had some enslaved Africans who worked their plantations and who provided labor for them. Now, after Penn and Venables, the two generals, English generals who defeated the Spaniards, successfully captured Jamaica, they seized all Spanish possessions, Spanish lands and properties. And having seized this land and properties, they encouraged English settlers. So you had a man by the name of Major General Luke Stokes, who was the governor in Nevis. He led an expedition of 1,600 persons, settlers from Nevis to Jamaica. Now, in order to give an incentive to these people to remain on the island, the British Crown granted these settlers land. They issued land patents, which were like titles, which were recorded at the island's records office, and they made land grants. Now, over time, the issuing of land grants, these were done to wealthy English families, merchants, and planters. And the British shifted focus and began to cultivate sugarcane. They realized that sugarcane required huge tracts of land, fertile land. And so this type of land could be found in St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland. So the granting of land to settlers created a plantocracy over time. And as a result of these lands, the transatlantic slave trade developed, because enslaved Africans were brought from Africa to the Caribbean to work on these sugar plantations. And grantees of these lands over time became absentee land owners. And these landowners benefited and profited from having plantations in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, even though they lived in England. Now, the Church of England was also granted huge tracts of land by the English crown. As a matter of fact,
well, listen how on a church, them for those that who no know. Listen on the involvement of on a church, them in the land issue in our country to know.
In 1667, the St. Andrew Parish Church was granted 600 acres of land by King Charles II. And this was a form of incentive, because the Church of England was the established church, and it helped to perpetuate slavery, right? And to ensure that the status quo was kept by their religious teaching and so on. Now,
that's why you've been all fucking blinded spiritually to this day, because of these same sanctimonious wicked, like Harold Blair and the others, and Glenn Samuels and the others. These are the criminal amongst us who spiritually hold us in contempt. In an English law, contempt is a crime.
A powerful planter class or plantocracy developed, and they dominated in politics, economics, and in the church, right? Now, these land grants which were given were tied to loyalty to the crown and to military service. So you find that the persons who were given these huge tracts of land by the English crown. They were loyal to the crown. They perpetuated the system, and they ensured that the status quo was kept. And some of these people were also military people who had given military service. So they were rewarded with land grants. You have names such as the Beestons and the Beckfords in St. Elizabeth, right? Now, you would have thought that these enslaved Africans post-emancipation, that is after slavery was abolished in 1838, they would have been compensated for 300 years of free labor and generations after generations being born into slavery. No, you know who were compensated? The planter class. The planter class actually were paid 20 million pounds by the British Crown, right? And the formerly enslaved people were never compensated. They were never apologized to for slavery, and they were not given any land, right? So we see that this contributed to inequalities in land acquisition in the island, because the formerly enslaved people had to depend on some of the independent churches, such as the Moravian Church, the Baptist Church, and the Methodist Church, to form what we call free villages. And a free village is a settlement of formerly enslaved people established away from the plantation to give them some kind of autonomy, independence, and dignity after slavery. I will do a video concerning the establishment of free villages in Jamaica. But there you have it, the tainted history of land acquisition in Jamaica. And it tells you that the lands which are now considered a part of Jamaica, the history of it, the English acquired it through conquest and gave huge tracts of land to English settlers as incentives to settle the island and as reward to their military officers and soldiers. I hope we have learned something. God bless you until we meet again. Amen. So,
right.
If I tell you that they...
Right. Now we're going to move into the importance of land reform in Jamaica, because the risk what we have here, giving Melissa and the government land grab, not for some of us like the coastline of Southwest St. Elizabeth who own that strip of land. It's not capture land, it's generational hand-down, or people bought their lands. But a lot of places in Westmoreland where you see those board house structure are what is deemed as capture land. And this is likely to cause a huge problem because government is on a land grab, particularly us in St. Elizabeth on the South Coast, which they want to build their new city and develop their South Coast tourism. On what land, I don't know, because the South Coast is already a residential coastline. So I don't know which part Prime Minister PM, one of him, I got build up in Guango Tree. But let's listen to the urgency of land reform in Jamaica and how it would protect especially people in Westmoreland so they can build more durable structure. Let's listen in here.
If I tell you that the recent devastation in parts of Western Jamaica by Hurricane Melissa owes its historical genesis to slavery and the plantation system, would you believe me? Well, spend a few moments with me and I will explain why. In places such as Westmoreland, parts of St. James and St. Elizabeth, a lot of the land, especially in Westmoreland, remained leasehold lands and not freehold, meaning the persons who lease could not have purchased because the purchasers, the owners are not selling, they are in fact leasing them land. Prior to emancipation in 1838, there were no attempts by the ex-colonial masters or the plantation system to redistribute land in places like Westmoreland. So what does the formerly enslaved people do when it comes to land? They had to lease land. And if it is a leasehold property, you cannot build anything permanent on it. Meaning, you cannot put a concrete structure that cannot be lifted up and carried away. Once it is leased land, it must be a chattel house on that land. Meaning, a structure that can be lifted up and carried away. And usually, this is a board structure. All right? So that's the first thing we need to understand. So, the land in Westmoreland were, prior to emancipation, owned by corporations, huge companies which existed in England or on the island, or they were owned by individuals. So these large scale farming which was done in sugar, bananas, or cattle rearing, especially in Westmoreland. So the land was concentrated, right, in the hands of a few large plantation owners. And that has remained up to today in Jamaica. Places such as Appleton Estate, which is located in St. Elizabeth, for example, was formerly owned by the company called Lascelles de Mercado Group Limited. They sold it to an Italian conglomerate company called
Just to explain two words to you in land law, when you hear the word chattel and fixture when it comes to land, what chattel means is something of a personal, tangible possession where you can remove from the property without causing any damage to the property. And when we talk about fixture to the property, we're talking about like a concrete structure which then becomes part of the property, which cannot be moved without causing damage to the property. So I hope you understand when they say chattel. Chattel is like your board house, which you can lift it up and put it on a flatbed and move it to somewhere else. So that's what it means.
I think it's Gruppo Campari in 2012. And Campari has taken over the management of J. Ray and Nephew, which was the management or which ran Appleton Estate. So today they deal with the distillation of rum. All right. Now, as I've said, there was no attempt to redistribute the land to the formerly enslaved people. So a large portion of the land in Westmoreland remain in the hands of a few private large companies or individuals. In order for the formerly enslaved people to get access to land, some of these people would work on the plantation system, right? Would work in the plantation system, and they were the ones who were lease portions of these lands for housing, for small farming, and for other purposes, but it remained leased land. And so they were able to access the land. Also, a portion of the lands in Westmoreland were crowned land or government-owned land. So the government, through system of leasehold and so on, also ended up leasing some of these individuals land to build their houses, which I said should be chattel because it's leased, and for...
This was one of the policy of Mark Golden, which I support most during the general election. The land reform proposed by Mark Golden. Because you see, that would clear up a lot of the land disposition problem in places like Westmoreland, St. James, and St. Elizabeth. Because a lot of these people would have fall into the 25-year gap, which Mark Golden planned to reform the law to, rather than have it within that 60-year gap. So a lot of these people, that problem, if the PNP came to power, probably would have been alleviated if they followed through on their manifesto pledge. But this whole land issue post-Melissa has become a very great concern, even to those of us on the coastline who own our land and have titles for them, or at risk of the government land grab and the government using environment and legislation against us in order to push us off rich land, which oil is on that coast. It's a coastline owned by the people and not by the government. So we have to be careful. A lot of developers out there waiting to buy a patch of land in Jamaica. Believe you me, they are stepping over each other at the moment just to get a piece of Jamaica, particularly the Jamaica coastline.
Farming for farm purposes. So we find that government also played a part in what went on, because if attempts were made for land reform and distribution of land to these persons, there could be some kind of system whereby over time they would become owners and they would build more permanent structures on these lands. They never did, because they remained leaseholders instead of freeholders. All right. Now, as I said, places like Hamden Estate in Trelawney also deals with sugar and the distillation of rum, right? Now, they own large tracts of land in Jamaica, and it stemmed from the colonial system where you had absentee farmers, absentee plantation owners who actually lived in England, but owned huge plots of lands in places like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, St. James. All right? Now, how do you solve a problem like that? Because it has remained a problem for many years. We are now into 2025. And see, we recently had Melissa came and devastated that side of Jamaica. So the government, it behoves the government of Jamaica to make some urgent move towards land reform in that part of Jamaica so that these people can actually own the land and build concrete or permanent structure on the land, right? So our colonial past or our colonial legacy has remained to haunt us into the 21st century. It has remained that way for many, many years, and it is currently.
This is why when some of you all say, slavery a long time, yeah, me can't bother with it. Shut the fuck up. If you don't understand the system of slavery, you will never understand the consequences of all that you are going through now, you stupid idiot. It is very important that we understand the system and structure of slavery. Not just the word of it, not just that we work for free, not just that we were on plantation, the church involvement, the government involvement, the structure of land, how they tied us up with legislations, how they tied us up with a fake constitution. We must know. Otherwise, we will remain lamb to the slaughter. Otherwise, we will remain sitting duck where anybody can come pick we off. You must understand the systems of slavery and colonization. They are still in full swing of operation, albeit under a different classy corporate name, albeit under a classy corporate name. The same systems exist. The name may have changed, not so much the function.
Happening. A huge amount of the land in Westmoreland. You ask anybody who lived in Westmoreland, who are the landowners? People like the white Jamaicans. I won't call anybody's name, but they remain the owners of land. Places like Clouden by the sea. If you go there, you see massive hotels. It's owned by white Jamaicans, right? And the masses of the people remain on leasehold lands. That has to change and must change because we are now in the 21st century. Our colonial legacy has plagued us and continue to haunt us even now. And Hurricane Melissa just came and compounded.
You see, these are the pastors that I will listen to. You see the hallelujah, thank you, Jesus, rapists them. We don't know the fuckery with them. Just don't have the time for the literal bullshit of some of these people who call themselves fathers, pastors, priests, ministers, and all sorts of bullshit title that they can give to their name. Man of God, this, that, woman of God, and all sorts of mockery of the people's spirit. We will listen to people like Sandra, Pastor Sandra, them will teach you. Not the one them will close your eye by speaking in tongues and rub their evil hand in your head. No, I really don't have the time for their wicked prayers.
the situation because it blew away these chattel houses, these board houses, and killed persons in Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth. So it's time government heed the call of the people, land reform in Westmoreland and that part of Jamaica, St. Elizabeth, St. James, so that people can have access to land which they can purchase and pass down to their children. That is my view, and I hope it takes some traction and the powers that be will listen. God bless you until we meet again. Amen. Okay.
These are people. There's another bit about adverse position. We could look at it this morning, because it tied into all of what is to come in the land grab by the government. But these are pastors you can listen to which don't clothe up your vision. Because what we lack is people to nurture our spirit and pull the veil from our eyes. Me telling you all the while, say, on a pastor them are wicked and thief and liars. Them are going to come out and confess to you one day. One day, they will all come out and confess. Because they can't keep it up forever, you know. The pastor them is a problem why you can't rise up against the government, you know. Because them put on in a motion to hope and pray, to wait on God, to tell you that this is a testing of your faith, to tell you that God will deliver. Just keep hoping and praying. Speak in tongues if you must, while gathering offering. And sometime abusing your position sexually, financially, and otherwise. Those are the people who are holding you in contempt. Because someone without the fear of God, you see, the fear of God, the fear of God, they say in the Bible, it's the beginning of wisdom. No, it's not. It's the dumbing down of wisdom. The fear of God is the dumbing down of your wisdom. When you start afraid to ask questions of even God and his holy angels.
So a number of persons have been asking me to explain adverse possession as it relates to lands in Westmoreland. All right. Adverse possession is a legal doctrine which allows for a squatter to acquire land in which he is in possession of without actually buying the land. All right. So adverse possession in the region, in the Caribbean region, stems from slavery, all right, and the colonial system of governance. All right. So but it offers a legal path to regularize land ownership to squatters and to generations of occupiers. So in adverse possession, you must have firstly open possession, meaning you must be in possession and it must be obvious and open to all persons, including the legal owner. You must also be in continuous possession of the land for a certain number of years. For registered lands in Jamaica, it should be 12 years continuous, meaning undisturbed, unbreakable. No one should have given you notice to quit during this time. It must be 12 years of continuous occupation. Also, your occupation should be exclusive, meaning you alone should be in possession of this land and not in possession of the land along with the legal owner. All right? You must also be on the land without the permission of the legal owner. If you are a tenant on the land, or you are a licensee, meaning a licensee is anyone who is given permission to occupy the land. You should not be a tenant or a licensee. All right, so you should be on the land without permission. You should also be in actual possession of the land, meaning you should be in possession of the land where you are farming the land, or you have built your house and living on the land, and or you have fenced the land. All right, your possession should be hostile to the interests of the registered or the legal owner. All right, so that is it in a nutshell, because I only have 10 minutes to explain all of this. And so that shit in a nutshell is what adverse possession is in our system, our current system of land ownership in Jamaica. In other Caribbean territories, it can be from 12 years to 20 years. I know in Trinidad, it's 16 years under their land ordinance there. All right. So, however, the reason why a number of persons, even though they may qualify for an adverse possession claim, have not done so is because of cost. In order for you to regularize your ownership of land, even though you might be in possession of it for 12 years or more, is because in order to get this land, you have to go through a series of steps in order to regularize your ownership. Firstly, you need to get a surveyor who will survey the land. And in order for you to get a registered title for this land, you have to use a pre-check plan. It's not mandatory, but usually when you do the application to the titles division of the National Land Agency, they want you to have a pre-check plan. That is a plan that is registered with the surveyor's department and as a PE number, a surveyor's number. All right. Also, having done that, you have to pay to get this surveys planned, this pre-check plan, and it sometimes depends on the area of the land, how big the land is. It will cost you money, and it's not cheap. Secondly, you will need to get yourself an attorney to do the application. Most lay persons are not able to do this application on their own. All right? And so you have to pay for the surveyor, you have to pay to get an attorney. Now, also during the application process, you have to state on your declaration, your statutory declaration, if you are the applicant, you need a statutory declaration, and you need at least 2 other persons to give statutory declarations under the Voluntary Declarations Act to state that they know that you have been in open, undisturbed possession of the land in excess of 12 years. All right? Now, I will explain to you that there is a time frame in relation to registered land. It's 12 years for adverse possession, right? But for unregistered land, you have to go back 30 years to show a root of title that you have been in possession of this land for in excess of 30 years, and so on and so forth. For crown land, that is government land, you have to go back 60 years to show that you have been in undisturbed possession of this land for this period. Now, the challenge.
All right, let me explain the difference between these three land that she mentioned. You have registered land, unregistered land, and crown land. Now, registered land would be the land that you have your titled for. So it's registered with the titles department. Unregistered land is land that somebody owned but has never been registered with the land department. Then you have the crown land, which is what we call government land. So both the registered and unregistered land more reference to not always though privately owned land, where the unregistered government land would be classed as state as crown land. So I hope you're not confused by my explanation.
That you will face is that sometimes your foreparents were the ones who were in this possession and of all of these years to show, and they might be deceased, and if they are, you're going to have to produce letters of administration of their estate or a probate document. So look, I am not going to tell you that it costs a lot of money to regularize one's ownership of land in Jamaica. That is the reality. All right. And for those persons who are legally trained like myself, we can tell you it is not cheap. All right. Also, having done your declarations, you have to produce a valuation report to show the value of the land, or a realistic. The valuation report is not mandatory, but it must be a realistic value of the land, because you have to pay on application. You have to pay 1% to the titles office, and if your application is approved, you're gonna have to pay 1.5% after that. So a total of 2.5%. You also have to pay for advertisement. Usually they ask you to do two publications in a national newspaper. So it costs money. And to alleviate this, if the government would just come in and do proper land reform, then persons wouldn't have to go through all of this hassle, because I'm telling you, it can be a headache. All right. So that is my take on adverse possession, and the reason why some persons are not able to reach to that level and to be able to regularize their ownership of land in Jamaica. Have a blessed day.
So there you have it. All those information are very relevant to our situation post Melissa, because what we need to demand from the government is land reform, not to displace people from land they live on, not to push people out of community which they have grown up, build their lives and everything in. So the purpose of bringing you this information this morning is so that we can stand up as a country. We can stand up in unity. Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth, if we don't need to become one unit. If needs be, we will cut off ourselves and form a new country. Yeah, these things normally happen in international law. We call ourselves South Jamaica or something, but we're not going to give up our land to the government so him and him private investor them can build whatever them want build. Then we become ghettoized. We become ghettoized in Jamaica. Me sure you see the South Coast beach of St. Elizabeth. The South Coast of St. Elizabeth, me sure you see the house them where they on there. Say no way. No that South Coast. The Andrew Holness develop tourism. Because from Black River to Junction, from Black River to Cheddar Beach, from Black River to Cheddar Beach, we have houses line the seafront. From Black River Prime Minister to Cheddar Beach, we have houses. I'm sure you see the structure of them line the seafront. Where are you going to get the land from to develop your South Coast tourism? Is a question that I will continue to ask. You see this city in St. Elizabeth Prime Minister? Me and one of my cousins there work it out yesterday. Build it in a zigzag runway. Anyway, you see one little free space of land, you build it in a zigzag runway. So what you going to plan to do? Demolish the house. That's why you not drop them, bomb them, create the inner parity. Is that the reason for those creators? Somebody need to go deep down in a because there's something that then created in our community has some deep old thing, when you drop one stone down there, you hear gunfire about it. Somebody need to tell we one of the drop pan we in the noise and the rush of the wind and water. What was it? Because them big pop out and drop out and break out there in our community. Andrew Holness, what was it that you all was dropping on us? But I want you to all remember to research the Environmental Modification Convention, ENMOD Convention. It is called the ENMOD Convention. And ask yourself, after reading the Environmental Modification Convention, ask yourself, why do we need such a treaty if we do not have countries that master the science to weaponize the environment against another country or people? Why do we need a convention to protect us from that? Is a question you want to ask yourself. Environmental Modification Convention. You can even just go up on Wikipedia and read it up. And a really conspiracy theory, You can go and check and read these things for yourself. It's called ENMOD Convention. Read it for yourself. You have phone in your hand. If time you depend on TikTok are fast, and the time you depend on social media costs me. Read for yourself. And if you're reading and you're not asking yourself question when you're reading, then there is a problem. All right? Can't help you anymore. You have to wake up and smell the coffee. Whether you want to drink it or you want to box away the cup from your face, wake up, Jamaica people. Wake up. It have started. I'm telling you about the geopolitical brouhaha. For 2 years now, I tell you now. Globalists with 2-year anniversary come with it, and because the girl Melissa roll up with it, we forget everything about it. But when I try to teach geopolitics and all of that, I'm not interested. When you see how everybody assemble themselves in a Jamaica, and you not hear nothing about China and Cuba and them people there. You see Venezuela send him support and them insult Venezuela. We know that in a crisis like this, yeah, the Cuban doctors would be the first at our feet, isn't it? We know Cuba, no matter when Cuba not happy, Cuba one of the first to church their hand to Jamaica. But when the CIA is in charge of our country, when the CIA, which the Jamaica Labour Party, is a creation of the Central Intelligence Agency, when they are in power, we cannot communicate or do business with our ally and neighbor, Cuba, who have the professional and medical and clinical expertise to help us along in this disaster. But remember, said Trump said they didn't go home, didn't they? Trump said they didn't go home, and Andrew Holness send them home. Who do we have now? Those who were just killing children in front of our eyes the other day. And every help a help. And every help a help. Israelis don't have no humanity. The Israelis don't have no humanity. So I don't see why then doctors are doing our country when they was just committing genocide against baby. Were they not afraid? In Jamaica, we're not afraid. No, sir. Why not brave? Then never make them people touch me with a long string.
And came back, and it came with food this time. But to collect, we all have to have ID and the TRN. However, I don't know where's my ID, and I hear a lot of people complaining that they don't know where is theirs. I'm currently searching the house to find it. I don't know where I don't know where to find it. From the storm, I haven't seen my ID. So I have a picture. Hopefully it can work. I don't know. We're in a fall, and if you see the amount of people outside in the rain trying to get aid right now, and I'm wet, wet till water drip. Rain fall right now as me speaking, fall hard. I find the paper where this is my old driver's license. Hopefully this can work. I walk with it. It's the line here. I go line up in it, I don't have a proper ID in RTR, but we still do it, I say it.
We know the labor rights can't see, but this is one of them problems over social media, defending the Prime Minister dismal failure. ADPEM is a disgrace. ADPEM is a scandal when it comes to disaster preparedness. The Prime Minister shuffling at the top of ADPEM. The Prime Minister said the whole heap of money and draw ADPEM right back under arm again is an admission to the people of Jamaica that it's a failed entity. It's an entity that nothing never put in to prepare for what we are experiencing at the moment. If the Prime Minister would just done election burial last year, burial we hit that era of Jamaica the hard hog pen. Not at them hog pen. That's a good way to call it. If hog pen we just don't look at a burial wedding, that mean to say hog pen should have in a full working mode. So that's why I know we can't recover from burial. Because hog pen they broke down for a long time. Be a corruption and maladministration over there. And right in the middle of a disaster, the Prime Minister said he can't find nobody at Jamaica qualify enough. Jamaica people, don't. Dr. the Honorable Puss. Dr. the Honorable City Puss say, for telling us, say, you find it hard to find somebody bright like him. Barring that, the Prime Minister wouldn't draw it into his crotch and quarters. So brighter than Holness, isn't it? The Prime Minister said the whole ano, a cuckoo incompetent buffoon. Boy, if you're not done, and the Prime Minister not done, but you know, I'm not telling no lie. If the Prime Minister can come out and say, we're not qualified enough, we're not great enough as a thinker. You're not good enough as a manager to manage people and get things done and have things operationally knit together with accountability and transparency, Prime Minister. In the middle of a disaster, you are switching and swapping and chopping around the agency that which is tasked to take us through this fuckery. Then, Prime Minister, isn't that an admission to say, why, I be a fuck up, I be a fucker, where do you say, we don't even, the person where I run it don't even know what them I do, said the Prime Minister. What else could you shift round at this time in the hog pen for? And what benefit it a go be to we when another hog in control of the pen? Good God Almighty, Prime. Listen here, people them are watch you, Believe you me, the 170 million US where you go getting indemnity. They not even watch that like how them watch the generator. The generator spark a outrage in a Jankro. Jankro, what Zara Burton, labor rights, Zara Burton said, someone who needed in St. Elizabeth. Someone who needed in St. Elizabeth labor rights. That me I tried to learn this morning. Someone who needed in St. Elizabeth. But you are provoking the nation, Andrew Holness. Don't underestimate these young men in St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland. Don't let Manchester, St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland team up, Prime Minister. By the way, Mr. What's him call it? I'm going to go back to this young man, but let me pull up Coleridge Minto. I have questions for Minto. Where is the mint? Where is the Minto? We have questions for Minto. Because to say, come to the front of the class, Coleridge. We don't call Coleridge through there. Coleridge, come to the front of the class. Could you answer this, Coleridge Minto? I'm being made aware that the looting in Black River was a competition, Coleridge meant to. The competition, Coleridge, was between the police and the citizens as to who could loot more. I was also told, Coleridge meant to, that there are several Jeep and van load up Jive Gorona station, police Jeep and van load up Jive Gorona station. We were aware that the police didn't do anything during that time, but when I questioned, it was becoming clearer that there was a competition, Coleridge meant to, between Black River Police and the community as to who can full them pocket more. Say that to say this, mainstream media. Maybe you should talk about the police too, and not just about the people them where they are loot. Talk about the police who was involved in the looting, who was looting hand in hand with the people in Black River. Talk about the whole of them. To the people of Westmoreland, we understand on a struggle, but do not deploy violence against those who bring you food or try to mob those who bring you support. That, for those of you few who do that, that brings a greater problem to the wider community when it comes to getting resources. So please, we're asking you all, cease and desist. Cease and desist from those behaviors of mobbing people coming to bring you food. Come soon do it to colors where they pan live. Cease and desist from doing those things. Because people are going to have fear coming into the area if that's what they're going to experience. Please, we're asking you, cease and desist from those behaviors. Not acceptable. So we want Coleridge Mentor to come out and tell we what them pick up from the supermarket, them from in a courts or wherever else. Mentor, we want to know what the police them looted. We saw what the people them looted because we see them go over the bridge with everything on their head. But now that we are hearing that the police were hand in hand with the people, that's why the police didn't do anything much. The only place that they tried to protect, because they said it wasn't other supermarket was left semi-intact, other than in town that could have been serving the town center at the moment, but both the police and the people them made awful use of it. So the police in Black River have questions to answer, because we expect UNO to keep peace and order despite the circumstances. We sooner they do certain things, yes, but if you have stand aside and allow the looting, I could have understand UNO may have been overpowered or confused or whatever, that I could blow past. But to be involved in the looting, superintendent, is a different bit of it. Because soon a friend a rent generator, yeah? them have Starlink a sell for 133,000. Labor rights. Labor right. On top the thief, you know, good God Almighty. Look upon where we are go to. And us still have the nerve for a thief fan we. Look at how they flatten with labor rights. And I go to the rubble of where they flatten and still a thief from we. Good God Almighty, the generators, the solar panels, the solar lamp, all of them something they come for people in Westmoreland, Hanover, St. Elizabeth, where to go take long to get back on the grid. So they can have little energy in their community. And the Holness. No, this is a question we may not hear nobody ask. Because there's a bureaucracy to the generator loaning. Police and what they done one them name JP, cause hope of them dons, you know. Police and JP and such a like and such a forth, and probably wicked like all Hero Blair them, the pastor them, you know, the wicked them, have to vouch for you that you're upstanding upstairs. That, do you understand that there's that bureaucracy attached to the generator? Let's go to the food. Let's go to the ID for food, the food ID for food. Then we go to the generator loaning. Let's go to ID for food. Where is ID for food? Hold on. Let's go to ID for food. Gonna think this. Wanna think when we say if we gonna bring back Andrew Holness and Fly Green them disaster. Uno go sorry, we tell uno go sorry, see them.
And came back, and it came with food this time. But to collect, we all have to have ID and the TRN. However, I don't know where's my ID, and I hear a lot of people complaining that.
In a disaster, we breathed. Just passed with nearly 200 miles an hour. Breeze will take all building gone with it. We expect to find a piece of paper. Breeze gone with building, you know. Breeze take up full container and dash away. But paper, we breeze and flood water not take way far away. But we still to take the paper in our waist while we swim through the flood water. What a caring government.
They don't know where is theirs. I'm currently searching the house to find it. I don't know where I don't know where to find it. From the storm, I haven't seen my ID. So I have a picture. Hopefully it can work. I don't know. Rain a fall, and if you see the amount of people outside in the rain trying to get aid right now, and I'm wet, wet till water drip. Rain a fall right now as me speaking, fall hard. I find the paper where this is my old driver's license. Hopefully this can work. I me walk with. Right, so the line
I wonder if we understand how serious this is. I wonder if we understand how serious this is.
Line up in it, you know. I don't have a proper ID in RTR, but we still do it, you know.
I think that's in Westmoreland.
I say things so. One other copter land out on the front out there, so. My phone all of them. I never think no time in my life would I ever see something like this. So it seems when everybody go and get package, me them I say 65 package for hour. And about she out already. And the line there is still long. But there go and watch what go. Alright, so the food done and then top take sign up. So we don't know when they're gonna come again. But this is something drop off out of the copter when it a fly away back. So me and one of my friend I walk a look feet, see where the power up my land one. Come on. I look if we see it, but we not find it. So never go me out there. I'm not even gonna stop the crowd because they say the food is done, but
I will repeat myself to the Prime Minister. There is petrol spilled all over the floor, Andrew. Stop striking that match. Stop striking that match. There's petrol on the floor. There's a risk, Andrew, of the house blowing up the more you continue to strike the match. There's petrol on the floor, Prime Minister. Put that bloody matches down. That's all me I tell you. Put the matches down. Put the matches down, Andrew Holness. Andrew Holness, put down the matches. The whole of the floor. There's kerosene all over it. I tell you, put the match down.
there's a lot of crowd still there. I stood in the line for about an hour and a half. And you know, nothing. So I go still, some of the people that will get through actually did more in need than me and then give the elders them priority. And I really like that as well because we as the stronger person, we can step out and make it work. So apart from dropping water and food, they also came in the village and they went around and they cut down a few trees from some fence of some houses and in the community overall. And we want to say thanks for the help. It makes it so much easier for us.
That's your Prime Minister. I wish video may send me there go pull up the generator or the generator video there. Let's rent a generator. Now we know so you hear the hungry baby, them you told up hear voices. When I hear on the voice hearing, hear voice too much. If turn your tongue, dopey talk to you. If you turn your tongue and Jamaica people know say there's a problem. Anybody you hear dopey talk to?
Food, water, medicine.
No man, I know this. This is how I tell the lie about the things that they provide. Anyway, I don't know what the junk cross about the generator. I don't know how my video them get so mixed up. I don't know what the junk cross about the generator. But Andrew Holness, you don't realize how much people eyes and ears prick up when them hear that. Because that is when them realize, no man, even in our way I go to, and just still decide to make a little buck half away. I mean, the shamelessness of Andrew Holness, the shamelessness of the guy.
Package of support measures to help its contributors and mortgagors recover from the devastation.
This is how I talk about NHT homeowners. The shamelessness of Andrew Holness, they just say it out in a public stuff, fully knowing well that we the people know that all these things came into the country for free.
Morning.
Zara Burton question. Labor rights, so no question, yeah. Calling all labor rights, please. How shameless the Prime Minister is to stand up and tell the nation, say, the same thing them was Spain and Japan send to support you, the people who have just gone through the worst. The Prime Minister loan it to you. Not only that, but you have to have pastor, police, and JP vouch for your credibility. What if the pastor, police, and JP say, people them who don't like you and decide to talk bad about you? Does it mean that your business can get the access to start back because government any friend them say you're not eligible or whatever eligible mean? Labor right, Zara Burton say, no services are needed in St. Elizabeth. Mr. the Labor right, them done subtle, then don't understand the importance of this question. Hey, Labor right, on a done, you know. But then again, if on a prime minister, on the most famous historical prime minister, Bustamante, couldn't read, couldn't spell bread up until now. How much year me ask labor right to spell bread? And not one on no labor right to date, no come out here come spell bread all now. They don't understand the importance of this question. They would prefer be poisoned by the germs and viruses and bacteria. They would prefer a health disaster break out in a Jamaica, which is looming because the Prime Minister have the dead body them over the country where they not able to take up, where they don't want to talk about, where they don't want to count and tell we, but they have time to go prepare a concert. Labor rights, we need some on down at St. Elizabeth.
Morning. I had some questions, but I don't necessarily know if anybody from the environmental sector is here. It has to do with just the decaying of carcasses and speeding that up. I went on Friday, didn't see any junkers in the air, and wondered, on a serious note, if anything could be done about getting some junkers in the area to take up some of the carcasses. Morning. I had.
Other than the and Jackson Miller questions, that was one of the most important questions asked in the press conference, because the junkers would help to prevent a lot of the bacteria from the carcasses seeping into our groundwater system that can create havoc for us. You understand? But they are labor rights, aren't they? Don't expect them. What you said, Loveless Dr. Zara Rang? I hope that's not what you're saying. Now, if you're not from the country, you may don't understand how junker work. But if you're from rural Jamaica, you would understand Zara Burton's question. Because cow and all sort always sick or drop dead around us. And either you go burn it, which take a lot of tire and all of that for burn out a whole dead cow, or within no time, you see the nearby guango tree, aki tree, or whichever tree the dead cow they near, you see that whole tree full of junk. And when Jankro touched dot, within no time, dead meat clean up, adjust the bone them left there. So there's a lot of you who, if you're not from rural Jamaica, you wouldn't understand the context of our question, that the amount of dead carcasses across the worst hit areas, we need a cleanup soon to prevent a health disaster, a health disaster, health outbreak of whatever should come. So if you don't come from country, you wouldn't understand Jankro, because maybe Jankro not a tree if you pitch in a town on a pretty area them. But we will come from place where cow dead, where donkey dead, and all them something there. We know the Jankro job that gets rid of the stench in no time for us. All right? So that was one of the most important questions in context to averting a national health crisis. That was one of the most important questions asked. Labor rights, if not the Jankro, if you go around, two people clean up dead meat, you know, it's doggone Jankro. I know everybody crocodile them can travel go, you know. The crocodile them make use as well. But doggone Jankro have them purpose when it come to carcass. Make the Jankro them do them job labor right. Zara Burton question was one of the most important, other than Dan Jackson Miller questions. But me know so now labor right when I haven't got understanding of anything. Maybe we don't need to pull on our head from behind the Prime Minister. There is something else going on out here. But then again, when we listen to you, we know so we don't have no empathy and no sympathy. But one thing the Prime Minister can do is take me off message. No amount of disaster is going to take me off message, because it is important that we keep up with the Joneses of the Jamaica politics. You have to keep your eye on the stage. It's all scripted. The theater, the global theater now is Jamaica, where all the big actors are assembled. If you don't want to keep your eye on the stage, you might not understand where the script is going and how far we are in it. You understand? So them now go take me off script. Them now go say, oh, put on the politics now, because the disaster is politics. And politics is the disaster. Thank you very much for being here this morning on Global TV. Lovely to have your support as always. If you're new to the program, please give us a follow. So when we go live, you certainly will get our notification. Thank you. Thank you. We possibly come back this evening. Yeah. Go remind the Prime Minister, said, thief, go on your way, thief. Look at what you do to it. You starve with the food and water. And the little help will come to it. You see him one still at turn round. A profit out of it. And we not talk about it. In this you see him, in the disaster in the Prime Minister, you are thief. But come to your dirty cronies, trannies, and backroad expert on social media. We feel leave politics out of it. But in the middle of the disaster, you are thief. And we not talk about politics in the middle of the disaster. How to work it out? Is that the whole on a plan to silence us? That as we call for accountability, as we question the government, is because we are dirty, junk PNP dog shits? Like seriously? So why the Prime Minister in the middle of the disaster a thief? Why the Prime Minister in the middle of the disaster a profiteer? Ask yourself the question, how the rent in a generator get in this? Ask yourself, out of 170 million US in insurance plus donation, what can 10 million do to a constituency flattened by Melissa? Thank you, my people. Good morning, good afternoon.
Oh, thy peace, God of my salvation, because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is open. Rastafari. Come with I. Rastaman throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Not a people there. Make a man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Only when man like Marcus Garvey speak, wicked men would I hear. Hear now hear. Instead of that, they only sit aside and rob and cheat, and not first and four. Make up what I seen to make him a throw and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a plan! Make him a throw and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. So, my favorite part, if Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the day them can sell out Rasta and sell it out. I sell out Babylon. They give man show and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. They give man show and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. If Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the dead can sell out Rasta and sell out. I sell out Babylon. Just stop on the right. You must go and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black thing, man, go and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. You have eyes to see, let him see. You have ears to hear, let them hear. What a prophet must say. President Mandela was in prison for 20 odd years. And he leave from the prison and take the seat of the president. Stone one, big him and Joe one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black big him and Joe one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Rastaman throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.